Good morning. My name is Donna Duper, and I'm President and CEO of the Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce. And I'd like to welcome you to today's Workforce Roundtable. I'd like to thank the 4 panelists that are here today to share their knowledge with us. I'd especially like to thank Andrea Sala in determining a role for workforce in our chamber. She actually thought of the idea of implementing different roundtables with different sectors of industry. This is the 6th roundtable that we have done. They have all been well attended, well received, and our members have really enjoyed the conversations that we have had. So Andrea, thank you for your time and your efforts in coordinating and putting all of these together. We really appreciate you. I was thinking this morning, when I was in 3rd grade, I grew up in Orange County, and we were able to take a field trip to Weber's Bakery. And Weber's Bakery was large. That's where they actually made all of the bread. It was a big facility in Santa Ana. And I distinctly remember walking through Weber's Bakery. And I think the best part for me at the very end was they gave us all a small loaf of bread, and it was wrapped up in the blue and white checkered Weber's Bakery plastic wrapper. And we got to take that home and show our parents. And a lot of people don't have the opportunity to visit manufacturing plants. And, you know, I know Weber's isn't really a big manufacturer, but it made an impact on my life. And I know that our members really enjoy these. So again, thank you for being here today. I want to add a caveat also that we had 24 people sign up to attend this. We typically have city representation also in attendance. The Los Angeles Economic Development Corporation is doing a large 88 city summit today. So a lot of our members and a lot of our local legislators are attending that summit. We are recording this in duration, and it will be placed on our website for review. And what I really like about that is we've been asked to post it on our website for those that apologized for not being able to make it here today. So even though we do have a small attendance, it will be on our website and be able to be reviewed. So that's really nice. So Andrea, thank you again. Thank you to our panelists and Jonisha and all of those that are here with us today. And I'll turn it over to you, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Donna. And I guess we have to be on our best behavior since we're being recorded and it's going to be posted. So I want to thank Donna. I now know where you got your love of baking from. It was that visit to Weber's Bakery a long time ago. You are a great baker. And I also want to echo thank you to our panelists today. Like Donna mentioned, this is our 6th Workforce Roundtable. I'm really excited about this because I've learned a lot in researching for today's event about manufacturing. And manufacturing is a small world, but a small word, but it entails a very large industry. So I want to introduce our panelists and thank them for being here this morning. We have Jerry Farrell, who is the Vice President of Technical Operations and Information Technology at Verco Manufacturing Corporation. Marty McGow, who is the Chief Operating Officer for 3DEO right here in Torrance. Sanjay Murthy, who is Chief Operating Officer of Aura Seating, and Kim Russo, who is a Regional Human Resources Director at Pelican Products. And to start today's roundtable, we're going to have each one of our guests provide a little description of their role and responsibilities and tell a little bit about their organizations. And when you talk about your company, please include a short description of what your manufacturing process is at your company. So we're going to start with Jerry, and he's going to tell us a little bit about Verco Manufacturing.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Andrea. So I'm Jerry Farrell, Vice President of Technical Operations and Information Technology at Verco Manufacturing. I've been with Verco for almost 30 years. And so we've been in Torrance since 1994 in the facility we're in now. It's a 560,000 square foot facility. We employ over 200 employees at this facility. It's our corporate headquarters. We process steel, wood, plastic, fabric to make schools, chairs, desks, and tables, and storage equipment. My role at Verco, as with the title, I handle cybersecurity, IT hardware that runs our ERP system for planning and processing orders. I also handle technology as it comes in. My last acquisition was a laser it's a tube laser that processes tubing. We take long pieces of tubing and process them into small pieces. I guess that's about it for right now. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Jerry. And Marty, would you please tell us a little bit about, and you have to teach me again how to pronounce, it's not 3DEO, you have to say it all at one time. 3DEO. You do it.
That's fine, Andrea. Yes, I'm the Chief Operating Officer at 3DEO. 3DEO is a startup. We're about 6 years old. We started out in LA at a small office, then we moved to Gardena to about a 13,000 square foot building. Currently, which we've been in for almost 2 years, year and 3/4 about. In Torrance, we're in an 80,000 square foot building. What we do is we design and build printers that print direct metal parts. So everything we print is stainless steel. We print thousands of parts a day, and the lead time it takes us to put the parts through is about 3 days. So from time of the drawing till time of the completed part is about 3 days. We service multiple verticals. We service the medical industry. We service aerospace. We service consumer products. We also service the defense industry. My job entails making sure that all of the operations operate effectively and ensure that we get our product out on time with a quality product. At this time, we have about 14 CNCs on site, and we have about 45 printers. So we have a tremendous amount of capability, and last year we produced over 1 million parts. I think that's probably good enough for me, unless you need more, Andrea.
No, that's perfect. Just a short description. And I had a tour recently. Thank you, Marty. And it's a fascinating organization and good things to come, I know. So thank you very much. Sanjay.
Hey, my name is Sanjay Murthy. First of all, thank you, Donna, for setting up this awesome meetings here with Torrance Area Chamber. I think the timing is appropriate and very apt. I think in the past you did with the pandemic for fun, how small businesses can help with different funding. And Andrea, as always, it's good to always see my walking buddy here, and great things that you do at El Camino. After I saw this, I definitely need to connect with you about opportunities with El Camino College as well. Aura Seating, we are a small baby company. We have been in Torrance since 2010. I keep telling everyone we are a 10-year-old company, and Menial reminds me that we're actually a 12-year-old company. We are a design manufacturer of seating products. So everything from an office chair to a banquet chair to aerospace upholstery for small aircraft and business aircraft, as well as for schools and colleges, and also outdoor seating. Anywhere you need to sit on, chances are we have had our hands in designing or manufacturing that. So we design primarily our own products, as well as we design and manufacture for major office manufacturers throughout the country and export to Germany and Australia right now. Our claim to fame is we make all our products not just comfortable to sit on, but we design our products using yoga for posture. So it makes you sit straight and supports you correctly. All of a sudden I see everybody sitting straight now. But we are again really great to see Jerry and Marty and Kim. I think maybe I think I've kind of maybe talked to you or interacted with you in the past, but happy to be on this panel.
Thank you, Sanjay. And Kim, share a little bit about Pelican Products and what you do there.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you for having me this morning all the way from Massachusetts. It's nice to see you all. So Pelican Products is a global leader in the design and manufacture of high performance protective case solutions. And I say solutions because we do to stock and also make to order. So we have a very big custom piece to our business. We also manufacture advanced portable lighting systems. Our products are really depended upon by professionals in very demanding markets, which would include fire, safety professionals, the military, a lot of, we have a big defense, aerospace market, entertainment, industrial, consumer, law enforcement. The Pelican products are built to last a lifetime, to protect the things that are important to these types of industries. So Pelican's Torrance location is our headquarters. It's a 200,000 square foot facility. It serves as the home office for nearly 1,400 employees that are global. So we have 21 countries and 28 offices worldwide. Pelican maintains 6 manufacturing locations in North America, Europe, and Australia. As the director of HR, I'm the people leader for the Americas, which includes 5 locations of about 650 people. In the Torrance location, we have 11 injection molding machines and secondary operations, which includes assembly. And we also have shared services in that facility. So supply chain management, procurement, HR, IT, quality, finance. So it's pretty much soup to nuts in that particular facility. I think that pretty much covers it. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Kim. I also just learned this morning you have amazing phone cases. That's protecting the thing that's very important to many of us, right? So thank you so much for that, Kim. And now we're going to get started with learning a little bit more about manufacturing in Torrance, which is a very multifaceted industry using a diverse talent pool. And we're going to talk about what the jobs look like and what the future looks like, which I think is really interesting and is changing all the time, as we're going to learn today. So the first question is, according to Indeed.com, there are currently over 5,000 jobs in manufacturing just in Torrance right now. And that's a staggering number of jobs, from assembly workers to technicians, machinists, quality control, production, and of course, engineers is a big part of manufacturing. So this is the first question to our panelists. What do you see the future needs are in the workforce in the manufacturing field? I'm sure we could talk about that for a long time, but we don't have too long. And especially here in our South Bay community. And we're going to have Jerry start us off.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we just bought that laser for 2 processing. It takes a technical machine operator to run it. And so as we look more and more at technology in our manufacturing, we're going to be looking for skilled people that have the ability to take mechanical and electrical devices and program them and operate them. So I've actually gone through the tour with Jose at El Camino and seen the manufacturing technology center that you have there, and some of the stuff that you're doing within the school itself actually are promoting the stuff that we're looking for in people. But as a general, what we're seeing is computer literacy is very important as we bring people in. Obviously, our assembly workers aren't required to have that, but if they do, they can grow within the organization. we're doing 3D printing now within the house. We're doing 3D modeling. All our engineering designs are coming off with Pro E. So it's more technology driven going forward in our skilled labor. We do still have manual labor. So we're using welders. So welding skills, I know that's another thing that El Camino actually has classes and certification on. But so all these different types of job opportunities or job requirements within Verco are things that we see as a growing trend for technology and skills within that. Thank you. That's what I see.
So like Jerry, same thing, it's very similar here. We have some manual labor in the Torrance facility, but we're finding that we have to go more towards automation. These days we've struggled to get people, so we need to find ways to do things more efficiently, and automation is one of those as well. We're finding that we're moving towards some of these manual types of processes to more people needing more troubleshooting and mechanical troubleshooting skills. So we're finding where we're needing to upskill some of those employees. So it's a great opportunity for people coming in the door with very little skills, where we're teaching them, how to do those things, how to work with technology. People that come into the facility, if they're willing to be cross-trained and learn in other areas, if they're safety focused, some basic computer skills, quality focused, and then a very big component of what we have is lean experience. So learning how to problem solve and look at our processes and make them more efficient. We find that employees get really engaged in how to make their work better. And we're finding that helps with retention, having employees really involved in that process.
I think from our standpoint, I come up with only two words. One is automation, automate like crazy, and robotics. I think at our supplier level, we really encourage our suppliers to do both of those for one simple reason: you get better quality. It's got less to do with eliminating labor. I know way back when I was a kid, I used to take classes in school for fixing automotive cars. I'm a car enthusiast. And that's something I see lacking in a lot of the schools these days. I think we want our kids to learn how to make computer games and how to do computer hacking. But I think the engineering skill sets is something that's kind of fading away. I think I know I'm working with South Bay Web and Centinela Valley High School. One of the things we are working with is trying to catch them early. We are working with their metal and their woodworking and their other school programs to see if maybe we can get some of those kids to take a look at manufacturing in a serious way, other than just a vocational an opportunity. So that's a great thing. One of the things that I would like to kind of see more of, and I think maybe after this meeting, Andrea, I'd love to connect with you, is what I call assembly with knowledge to eliminate their jobs. I think everybody wants a laborer to just kind of do the same thing over and over again. We'd love to see where employees come in and they find a way to automate their process so we can eliminate the position, they can make a higher salary and kind of grow with the company. We just don't want people to just keep repeating and doing the same thing because they'll lose interest. And then finally, like Kim said, a big thing for us is Six Sigma and Poka-yoke. Again, how do you prevent errors from moving forward so the customer gets a consistently better product?
And Marty.
Okay. At 3DO, we have a lot of different processes that we use. We have powder that we deal with that's very, very small particulate size. It's about 10 microns nominal, so very small. So we have jobs where people are doing mixing, very, very complete mixing, similar to you might see in a pharmaceutical area. So we use a lot of that kind of activity there. In the printing operation, we design and build our own printers. So we're constantly optimizing, going through and applying all of the techniques that we can to make the product better. So we have technicians that operate those machines. We also have people that clean the parts after they come out. Some of that is manual and some of it is using Fanuc robots and going through and doing robotic activity. Then we have people who operate a furnace because our parts come out in powder, and then we sinter them or densify them by putting them into a furnace, and people load the furnace and unload the furnace, and that's more of a manual operation today, but we're working on automation. Then we have quality checks that we do where people are using automated measuring systems. They're doing visual inspections of the parts. They're doing some manual calibration. So they might use some calipers or pin gauges. And then we have people that do post-processing. We blast our parts with like glass beads or sometimes aluminum oxide. And then we also have a full machine shop where we have people programming CNCs. They're also operating the CNCs and doing setups and then deburring and the other post-processes that you would expect. So we run the gamut of people that we need in the facility. Some are entry level. We train all the people specifically to run our printers. They just need to have some good mechanical capability. On most of the other areas, we also train them on how to do it. In the machine shop, we hire just experienced machinists to run our machines. But in the other areas, we handle it that way. We use engineers, mostly mechanical engineering, but we do have electrical and chemical engineering. We have material science PhDs on board that help us with the material sciences and how to go forward. So if you were going to come in as a person that was kind of entry level with some experience that wanted to be trained on our specific processes, we mostly look for people that are going to have the right cultural fit. The right cultural fit.
Uh-oh. Am I the only one who can't hear Marty?
Again.
I can't hear him.
No.
I can't either.
Marty, you lost sound. Oh. Technology. Uh-oh. He's coming back. Well, while he's fixing his audio, I'm going to actually move on to the next question because I see it's connecting, but so as we talked a little bit about, there's a lot of different career opportunities in manufacturing, and most of you have touched on that. And Jerry, thank you for the plug for El Camino. But we do have a variety of pathways into manufacturing through our manufacturing technology program and also our engineering technology program. And we also have an automation, robotics, and manufacturing center where students can prepare for careers in the manufacturing industry. And many of our students will do that and then transfer to a four-year university, but many of them are training to enter the workforce through a certificate program. And there are a multitude of jobs in manufacturing that are entry level, as Marty kind of mentioned, and don't require a college degree, but many of them do require a college degree. So I was curious, if you have entry-level positions, I know Marty said they do, as well as what types of degrees or even experience do you look for when you hire? And we were going to start with Marty, but I'm going to start with Kim because I don't think he has audio yet. So Kim, will you start us off?
Sure. Yes, so we do have entry-level positions generally in the assembly area. You know, with these roles, candidates don't really need to have the experience, and we can teach them. If they have the basic, you know, interpersonal skills, the ability to learn, the willingness to learn, and, you know, working in a team environment, we can get them there. If they have experience, I mean, it's helpful for them to have basic tools or small machinery, whether it's screwdrivers, hammers, rivet guns, drills, basic measuring skills is helpful as well. But if candidates do have like a 2-year degree or a technical degree, any kind of technical skills and or automation skills, we often are able to fast track them for more technical jobs. they can advance pretty quickly. We do have some skill-based pay, and we often pay people for skills. If we're hiring for positions that do require degrees, usually we are looking for engineering degrees, specifically with automation and material science, and then business administration, which usually includes finance, marketing, et cetera, as well. So, but there's plenty of opportunity. We have a pretty high tenured workforce. Many of our employees have been there on average about 18 years. So many of those people have started on the shop floor and worked their way up into other organizations. So there's a lot of opportunity for growth in our organization.
Great. So Marty, are you back with us? No.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know.
Okay.
Just dropped.
Okay. So do you want to, do you want to answer this question? You were kind of talking about it a little bit about the different positions you have. And you talked about entry-level positions, but you also have engineering degrees. I know when I was there, I met someone who has a PhD from USC, and so you run the gamut. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. We go from every place from entry-level positions until PhDs, and every level pretty much in between. Most of our technical staff here are mechanical engineering backgrounds. Most of the things we do are mechanical engineering related, but we also have our own programming staff here. So we have the programming and IT. We have our own software that we use with our systems. So we have coders and so forth that are both here and remote. We have, because we integrate a lot of technologies, we have electrical engineers here too to help us with process. Everything here is about innovation and about solving problems and following the cultural things I talked about. I hope made it through where, it's a continuous improvement environment. We're constantly changing. So attitude is really important for us. Cultural fit is really important for us. The people that do well coming in here on the mechanical side almost always must have CAD experience, so they can do drawings and look at parts and so forth. The familiarity with natural CAD and also digital CAD is helpful for us because all the parts that we build come in a digital CAD file called STL, whereas the rest of them come in natural CAD. So those conversions with those parts. For people coming in the quality area, if they have experience with automatic measuring devices such as Keyence type of systems or things that do non-contact measurement, which, by the way, they measure very, very quickly. They'll measure all the dimensions on a part within 3 seconds and then tell you if it's good or bad. So very sophisticated, that kind of equipment, also calipers again and pin gauges. From the top down, we have management, people with experience. I have probably 20 years experience in 3D printing, and that's the reason that I'm here. I'm helping to scale the organization and take it to the volumes we need to.
Great. Thank you, Marty. Sanjay.
Hi, thanks, Andrea. I think, again, like Marty said, for us, having somebody with a CAD CAM skill set is really useful. But what we have found out in our organization, and we have over 9+ open positions for the last 6-7 months, and I know it's a challenge to find and fill positions. The one thing that we have found is somebody who has a positive, can do, and willing to learn. Those are the best candidates. It doesn't have to be an engineering degree. It doesn't have to be like somebody who's coming from an Ivy League school. But the best employees that we have found are the ones who come into work, who really want to learn and who really want to make a difference in the company. I think that by far exceeds everything. Everyone can be trained if they're willing to learn. Surprisingly for us at the very, very basic entry level, we're obviously looking for folks that can do woodworking, metal manufacturing, upholstery. So we're working with a lot of the high schools and local training companies to help us get that. Surprisingly, one of our biggest requirements is social media, e-commerce, and B2C kids that are experts at that. As a manufacturing company, it's not just about manufacturing, it's about sales. So kids who have that background coming from places like El Camino or CSU DH, we have been very lucky that we've been able to talk to a lot of those new recruits from those places. And again, working with South Bay Web and Centinela Valley High School, we're trying to gear up interns and also apprenticeship for the summer programs to help kids get the awareness for manufacturing and find an interest to work with for companies like ours here in Torrance.
Thank you. And Jerry?
Yeah, so very much like Kim had mentioned, we do a lot of on-the-job training. We're looking for somebody that has those basic skill sets and is a team player that wants to come in to our organization. We go with probably about 200 to 300 company-wide agency employees during the summer months, and then depending on backlog and demand, we might open some more positions. A lot of the people apply, they've already proven themselves, but I'll give an example for myself. So my background's robotics, that's where I came into Verco. We have over 70 robots at all of Verco that I helped procure, implement, and install. We have integrated actually assembly systems with robots, and the technicians that actually helped assemble them, the engineers that helped design the mechanisms to work on these assembly lines, we actually trained them in-house. So they didn't come with degrees, they didn't come with knowledge from outside, other than like many of the panelists said, you know, got to be able to read a tape measure, you got to have that willingness, and you know, you got to come to work on time, which is getting harder and harder to find nowadays, it seems like. People actually showing up, they want flexible work hours. But you know, so we have positions, when we talk about positions, we have positions across the board, but typically we're better off. We find that we're better off. Our average tenure is 20 years in an aging workforce, but we're better off getting somebody entry level. We usually put down in intermediate job skills as preferred if it's a degree or experience, because we don't want to take somebody that's got all of the basic fundamental skills, but because they didn't have that chance before, not to be able to give them the chance, since it's so hard to hire people nowadays, it seems. So we're willing to train in-house, and basically we see people fast track into technician roles from assembly workers if they have the skill set and show it. So, you know, we're pretty open when it comes to the different levels.
Thank you so much. I think it's so great that you are all willing to bring somebody in, and if they have the will and the drive and the show up for work every day and have a good attitude, that they can grow with your companies. I think that's fabulous. So thank you all for that. So I wasn't going to include a question about the pandemic, but I just kind of had to, because here we are. Anyway, so we all know that COVID-19, the pandemic over the last couple of years, has had a profound impact on everything in our world. And with manufacturing of products, it was much harder for you to all of a sudden work remotely like a lot of people could do, because you're actually building a product. So what happened during COVID, and how did you cope with that? How did you continue to manufacture, to make product, to have people come to work safely? And how did you overcome those issues to stay in business? So I'm going to start with Kim on this one.
Sure. So, of course, we could have a whole day to talk about this, but so we're an essential employer because of the markets that we support with the military and our first responders. So we remained open during the pandemic. We never shut down our doors at all. Part of the success had to do with the size of our location and the ability to try to social distance everyone and putting in some really, strong protocols. That was helpful for us. The biggest impact really to productivity was managing the absences and the turnover during that time. I mean, I think at one point in time we had 50 absences at once. It was a bit crazy to manage. The California COVID sick really impacted that, especially during the beginning when there was a lot of panic around being around other people. And so we spent a lot of time talking about safety and helping everybody to feel safe in the work environment. But then as things went on, competition from other employers became, a lot more difficult to manage. with all the higher pay rates. And so we had to really we had to pivot pretty quickly and get creative to manage, how are we going to manage being short-staffed? Between the people that left us, they retired early, or they decided just not to work any longer. And then also trying to hire people during this type of time frame where people were afraid. But one of the things that we did is, one of the first things is we implemented a performance bonus program for our employees to reward them on several key metrics. That was helpful, as well as we did adjust our starting pay rates to try to be more competitive over a period of time. I think we had 2 or 3 different equity adjustments that we did. So that was very helpful. And then, of course, there were supply chain issues that hit us pretty hard. And so ultimately, that kind of balanced us out when it came to not having the people to produce, because actually there weren't some parts there in some regards. So we did have to pivot with making other things that we weren't planning on doing. So there was a lot of, we were juggling a lot of balls, just like everybody was, trying to still meet our annual plan. The good news is we did very well. We came through this better than pre-COVID. So it's like all of the things that we did over the period of time. We also had all of our lean initiatives in place, and so, purchasing, procurement, sourcing, and things that we were doing to help reduce costs, and to just try to be more efficient during this time. So thankfully, we had laid a good groundwork, so we were able to weather the storm.
That's great.
Yeah, so at Verco, very similar to Pelican in many ways, except we shut down in Los Angeles. Our Torrance facility shut down for 2 weeks. And then when it started spreading across the country, we started looking at the regulations, and we identified as an essential supplier with our customers and clients that we deal with. So we opened back up, and we had to implement all the different spacings for meal breaks. We had to do multiple meal breaks in order to accommodate everybody in the spaces that we had. We had to put up temperature gauges at the front entrance and at every entrance, actually. And it was very difficult to get people to actually come into work. A lot of people were fearful, so there was a campaign that we put on in order to help people be educated in COVID as we were getting information, and it was very. We were getting just inundated with information all the time through California and through the Los Angeles County, but we ended up implementing double time for all of our overtime in order to get people to come in. And that actually motivated people a lot more. When they're getting double time for every extra hour of work that they put in, there was a group of people that all of a sudden, word spreads, and then we had a lot of people show up for work when that implemented. So that was good. We've come through it with a bigger backlog than we've had in the past. I could honestly say, because I monitor orders all the time, that we're pretty much up to date on orders, that we don't have any orders that have just been sitting out there for a long period of time. So things are good, but we have a long road ahead of us this year with Shanghai and Beijing shutting down. A lot of our competitors are getting hit really hard because they import most of their stuff from Japan. Now, we only have a small percentage of items that we get, China. We only get a small percentage from China, but that small percentage can impact us. So like him, we're shuffling things around to ensure that we're utilizing our workforce as we can right now. And hopefully there are no, I'm gonna knock on wood right now, no new strains of COVID that come out and create problems for us. But we feel pretty good where we're at right now, though.
That's great. Good. Sanjay.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. For us, it was the ability to pivot. I think I do quite a bit of international travel, and we were able to see the concerns coming from China early on about the pandemic. I think we were one of the first few companies who started getting masks and dispensers. In fact, the city of Torrance, as soon as the pandemic hit, they asked us if we could get them the dispensers and the isopropyl alcohol, which we were able to air freight from our operations in Taiwan. And that's how we started working. So instead of making office chairs, we quickly pivoted to doing PPE products. And that's kind of what we did for most of 2020. And in 2021, when many other players came into play, we basically backed off from that because that was not core business. But we did a lot of business with our major OEMs who supply to the VA hospitals and to a lot of local hospitals. So we were able to change our business from making office seating products to making components that our customers needed. So I think for us, it was primarily pivoting from what we were good at to what the industry needed at that time. And then what we did was, as soon as we came, I mean, I'd be remiss to say that business was down. Obviously, office furniture, nobody was buying office furniture. So we quickly shifted to selling our products for home offices because people were doing hybrid and working from home. And then finally, what we did was, as we are coming back, this year has been amazing. We're doing a lot of casinos. We're doing a lot of hospitality products. And as people are encouraged to get back to social gatherings, we are seeing a big demand in our portfolio for this year. But what we did was, this year we decided that we wanted to upgrade our skills, and so we are careful in hiring new employees and taking the opportunity to match the higher pay with a higher skill set. And as I mentioned earlier, as we're getting away from the traditional dealer business to doing more e-commerce, we are investing heavily in the skill sets that help us to get to our change of our business direction.
Great. Thank you. And Marty.
Okay, it was extremely challenging for us to deal with COVID. We're in a huge expansion mode. So during COVID, we moved from facilities. So we had to move our full facility from Gardenia to Torrance. And we had to build the facility, which was extremely challenging because of the city regulation, all the inspections and everything that had to be done. And at the same time, we were growing the organization by bringing in new printers and new CNCs in order to accommodate demand. So from our standpoint, it was extremely challenging. We went from a 13,000 square foot building to an 80,000 square foot building. We went from 1 CNC to 14 CNCs, and we went from about 10 printers to over 40 printers, all during COVID. So at that time, what we did was we also, the employees went way up. We were about 45 when we left, and now we're at 220. So we had to hire a lot of people at the same time. So the first thing we did was shut down for 2 weeks in order to get everything organized so we could be safe. We brought in OSHA certified inspectors to make sure that we were being safe when we followed all the CDC guidelines, and spaced everybody out, put people on remote work, and then had our direct labor still function here, but give them all the spacing. So I'm proud to say that during that period, we believe there might have been one case where somebody actually caught COVID here, and that's someplace else. And we're not even positive on that one. So we think we did a pretty good job. The worst thing about COVID for us, even given all those challenges, was when anybody came down with COVID, it was the quarantining of the other employees. It was unpredictable for us, so we couldn't tell when people were going to be out and how long they'd be out, because they might have caught COVID or they might not have caught COVID. So that was probably one of the most challenging things for us. But we were able to deal with all of the other activities and still comply with CDC. And then we brought in inspections to make sure that we were keeping the place safe.
The best thing is that you all made it through, and hopefully we're on the other side now, right? So this is a very short question. And Marty, since you're warmed up, I'm going to have you have the first stab at it. But how do you recruit, engage, and retain workers in your organization? I know you've all mentioned that, you know, it's hard to find good workers right now, but then once you do, how do you find them, and then how do you keep them? So Marty, because you've grown quite a bit.
We do a lot of work on. Yeah, we've grown hugely. For professional workers, we use LinkedIn for some levels. We also have professional recruiters that are not, we have one professional recruiter on staff, and then we also have another agency that helps us find our engineering staff or any of our professional workers. For our other people, when we're trying to get direct labor or people to put together parts or people in that kind of field, we generally go to Indeed or other social media type of recruiting mechanisms, and we advertise for the people and get it going. But probably one of the biggest things to help us is word of mouth and recommendations from our current staff or from anybody that knows us. So we get probably half of our recruits come in through word of mouth, different people telling their friends about the company and how to come in. The way we keep people here is the biggest thing is communication. We try to communicate with the people all the time. We have monthly meetings, all hands meetings, where we explain what the company is doing and where we're going. We have a formal review process that for new employees is a 30, 60, 90-day review where we tell them how they're doing. We make it very clear on goal deployment policy what the goals are for everybody so that they know what's expected of them. We give them feedback as to how they're doing. We're big on empowerment, so if the people have suggestions, we make sure we always get feedback. Even if the suggestion might not be something we're going to put in, we still give them feedback as to what we're doing. And we listen very carefully to what people tell us and try to use the ideas that they give us where applicable, which is quite often in a growing organization, they give us good ideas. We also do a once-a-month appreciation lunch. We try to do that for all shifts. By the way, we're 24/7 here, so we're running all the time. And I think it's just this communication and the open door policy where we talk to people all the time and they can feel free to talk to any of the executives anytime. And I think that's what gets the people wanting to stay.
Thank you. Sanjay.
For us, we've been pretty successful through social media. I think as we are recruiting more younger candidates, as well as like Mari said, we are also looking at older candidates through LinkedIn, which is the traditional way of doing it. Primarily networking by reaching out to industry contacts within the organization and kind of finding like-minded individuals through trade organizations is a great way that has helped us to find qualified candidates. One of the few things that we do is we are focused a little bit different. Being a smaller company, we are focused more on the individual than the company. What I mean by that is we treat all our employees as family, and we literally mean that. So we take their aspirations and their requirements as priority for our business, because at the end of the day, we found out both as an employee in the past and as an employer now, employees leave the company not because somebody is giving them more money, but because they are not being appreciated. We do Aloha Friday, which is because Minal and I, we both came from Hawaii. So they love the Aloha Fridays where we kind of just take a few hours off and just kind of sit down and relax and find out what's going on in their lives. We also do a lot of community activities, especially in Torrance. We have adopted a couple of nonprofits and beach cleanups. So people really like getting involved in the community. And we also get involved with charities. So I think we are a little bit more employee focused than being an employer focused. And that helps us really retain our employees. And some of our employees, they have left during the pandemic and begged to come back because they missed the camaraderie of working here.
I want to come to Aloha Friday.
Absolutely, you're always invited.
Kim, how about you guys?
And what
Sure.
time
So
is
we
Aloha
have
Friday?
we have an in-house recruiting firm, or group, and of course, they do the typical, LinkedIn and everything. We've done a lot of Facebook media posting as well to get the word out there. Trying to get creative this year as far as sign-on bonuses. We've increased the referral bonuses for employees. We get a lot of referral bonuses, which is great. But one of the things that we found was key this past year was speed. Speed is important during recruiting. When you get that candidate, you got to turn them around quick. And we actually kind of did a little value stream map of our recruiting process. So that doesn't just happen on the manufacturing floor. It happens in all of our departments, looking at what we do and where our waste is. And one of the things that we found is it was just taking too long between all of the different touch points with a candidate. So we've reduced we actually created we're doing a little experiment where we're 2 times a week, we're conducting these group info sessions. So candidates come in as a group, we do an info session with them, they get a group tour, and then we have managers that are all on, during that hour, they split off and they do speed interviewing with people. And we're pretty good at this now, where we're able to quickly decide who would be a good fit for Pelican, and we make them an offer on the spot. And that has been a key. I mean, of course, we do still go through, the post-offer screenings and things that we need to do. We have changed some of those screenings as well. Just really what it comes down to is we need to get them started as soon as possible. Because what happens is they have a competitor who might be offering the same pay rate, who then say, well, I can get you to start Monday as opposed to, Wednesday or whatever. And they're going to take the job where they can get started right away. So we found trying to tighten up that start time, and that whole process was important for us. We're also looking at how we can, from a Pelican brand, how do we differentiate ourselves from other employers? And I think that that's important. We found that our benefits are a big seller. And so we're trying to find the things that make us different, that are important to other people. And I think that that's important. Now, as far as retaining people, right now, employee engagement is one of our biggest focuses right now. We do have a robust calendar of employee activities and community outreach, and trying to have fun at work and have it be a place where we're proud to work. But we, in the Torrance facility, we are currently holding an initiative where we're having monthly meetings with employees, where it's really a forum for them to open up a dialogue, so we can understand what their frustrations are, fix them proactively before people get, before things fester, and have that open dialogue for them. And so what we're doing is, when we hear those things that come out of those meetings, we put them on a tracker, and we figure out how we're going to address them. And we share that with everybody to say, look, we're walking the talk, and you're important to us, and making sure that we address their concerns. We're also doing weekly check-ins with new hires, making sure that they're comfortable in their environment, that they're rapport with their trainer, that all of those things are coming together, and that they're getting acclimated pretty well. That first 90 days is definitely a challenge. That's where you're going to lose them if you're not engaging them right away. And we've also kind of ventured down a path of, I think I mentioned earlier, skill-based pay, where we've actually created some training matrices for employees to help them get cross-trained. And this really has a twofold benefit. The employee gets the opportunity to increase their skills and make more money, and we also become more productive, in our, with our organization as well. And we've also done a lot of training internally with lean and automation through grants, and we've also done some Greenbelt training. And these are all things that they want to grow, and they want to be able to make more money to support the things that they do outside of work, and that's really important. And I think that those are the things that help keep our employees engaged.
That's great. I love how you ask for their feedback. Our president at El Camino always says, "Don't take it to the parking lot." So
That's a good.
I appreciate that. And Jerry, last but not least.
Thank you. So much like everyone else, we actually, on recruiting, we use professional recruiters for professional positions, but most of our positions are assembly workers or entry-level skill level positions. We get a majority of our workers, I think, just like Marty had mentioned, through word of mouth So word of mouth from employees. In fact, because our average tenure is so long, we actually have kids of parents that are coming in and applying, that they're 21, 20, whatever they're applying. And we have multiple generations within our organization and throughout assembly lines and throughout the plant itself. So recruiting, for the most part, goes hand in hand. We go Indeed, and we posted in local newspapers, but for the most part, we get a majority of our workers through word of mouth. How do we engage and retain workers? We do weekly safety meetings. We have people. We have open door policy. We do a lot of team building, and just, I think overall Verco's values, since we are, even though we're a public company, we were started by the Virtue family. Julian Virtue started the company back in 1950. So, you know, we do have a family environment. Our values are, you know, leadership, merit, fairness, and dignity. And so we try to do everything and walk the walk and talk when we're out on the floor and we're talking with people. We want people to feel like they're, you know, that's more than just a job, that they're actually part of something, that they're coming to work with a purpose. And the amazing thing is, and we always joke about this, that when somebody leaves our company, when they say, okay, well, I found a better job, we usually take a bet. It's 50-50 they'll come back. They're going to reapply because the grass isn't greener on the other side. We treat people really well. So we're proud of that.
That's awesome. And I think what a great way to wrap up the day or the hour, because I love that positivity, and I love that you're so confident they're going to come back. That's great. So I think that's all we have time for today, Donna. And I would like to just end by thanking our panelists so much for taking some time out of your week. I thank Jerry and Kim, Sanjay and Marty for your time today. It was lovely being with you all. I want to wish you all a happy Warrior Wednesday, because that's what it is at El Camino College today. It's Warrior Wednesday. I have my El Camino College shirt on. And Donna, I'm going to send it back to you. Thank you all. And thanks to our guests for being here. Donna?
Thank you, Andrea. You know, it's funny. I know that we always say at the end of each one of these roundtables, that was my favorite. This was really, really good. And I took a lot of notes because we at the Chamber are starting to plan next year's physical activities and programs. And, you know, some of the things that I wrote down were emerging leaders, workforce and employee engagement, career tech, cybersecurity, team building, all things that a lot of our small businesses in particular are looking at and for guidance in. So on behalf of the Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce, again, thank you, Andrea. Thank you to our 4 panelists, and thank you to our members for being here today. Happy Warrior Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.